So as Katie said, my name is Ramandeep Kaur, and I am the lead electronic prescribing and medicines administration pharmacist and interim EPMA project manager here at BHR. So today's presentation will give you a bit of a brief overview of what EPMA is, our current position at BHR, who we are as a team, our processes before we made some improvements, our current processes, what we're proud of, some of the Pride Way methodology and some final thoughts. Quite a lot of this is focused around the Pride Way methodology. So what is EPMA? So for those of you that aren't aware, here at BHR, we have a clinical digital strategy. And part of that is to implement electronic prescribing and medicines administration. So across the country, there's lots of different systems that have been deployed for EPMA. And we are yet to do that at BHR. It's already been rolled out across many UK hospitals, and the plan is nationally to become completely digital by 2024. So what is EPMA? So in its simplest form, EPMA allows doctors to prescribe, nurses to administer medicines, pharmacists to clinically review and reconcile medications, and pharmacy technicians to input drug histories and order medicines. And there's lots of other multidisciplinary team members who will also utilise EPMA to carry out their duties within their competencies. For example, ward clerks may use it to have a look at who's had a VTE assessment done. An OT may come and have a look to see if the patient's had some pain relief so that they can move them, etc. So there are lots of different users. So I'm not going to utilise this presentation to dwell on what EPMA is and our current position at BHR, but I just want to give a very quick overview that at the moment we are currently in a procurement phase. And we're utilising lots of the Pride Way methodology in terms of doing as-is process mapping, timed observations, standard worksheets, and looking at how the processes are out there on the ward and why this matters to yourselves. So those of you that are working on the ward, what is this going to do and how's it going to make a difference to the care that we provide and our experiences as members of staff within the organisation? We have got an extensive number of audits that we're working on. So if there's anyone out there that would like to be involved, then please do get in touch, or would like to know more about EPMA, then more than happy to have that discussion. One of the key parts of today's presentation that I want to focus on, however, is about recruitment to the team and how we work as a team. And I think that's really, really fundamental, in particular for teams that are very desk-based, and not losing sight of what matters, which is the patient, for me certainly, and something that I make sure I promote within our team and make sure that that's our focus. So our current team is myself, and we are a multidisciplinary team of individuals. So we have a site lead nurse, site lead pharmacist, a desktop engineer, project support officer, and a test and assurance analyst. So we're quite a versatile and diverse team. We sit across both pharmacy and IT. And it is, and so feel free to come and say hi to any of us when you see us out and about. And one of the things I wanted to talk about today was what our team sort of looked like back in 2020. So the team that you've just seen on the previous slide, majority of staff have been in post since April of this year. 2 of us were in post in 2020. And as we all know, we're not out of the pandemic. However, some of the things that I joined the trust in July 2020, in the middle of the pandemic. When I came for interview, I never imagined we'd be in a pandemic. I spent a significant amount of last year shielding and working from home. So for me, what was really important was about the communication, ensuring our team morale, no matter whether we have 2 members or 30 members, is positive and that we're looking after one another. And I remember being at home and thinking, okay, how are we all communicating with one another? And actually, from a mental health and well-being perspective, we needed to do something different. And that's not a criticism of anyone within the team at that time. It certainly isn't. It's more about not to challenge and not being afraid to actually question the routes of communication. And for me, what is really important as someone who's managing and leading a team within the organisation is about ensuring that everyone feels that we are working together collaboratively and actually getting to know one another on a personal level. That you're working with individuals daily, and it's not just about coming into work to deliver your end goal. It's about being able to interact with one another and having that respect for people. So one of the Pride Way tools and techniques that we're taught is about that respect for people and being encouraging and being able to support one another. So because lots of us were new and we had limited routes of communication, one of the first ideas following a brief discussion with individuals within the KPO team at that time was to create a huddle board. And I'm going to, on my next few slides, talk through some different examples of the huddle board and how this has evolved over the time. So in November 2020, we created a huddle board like this. It was quite simple, but it covered what we needed to cover at that time. And it was great to get us communicating and speaking to one another on a daily basis. There was only 3 of us in the team at that time. But it was a tool. We'd gone from having pretty much nothing and ad hoc meetings to having something that was in the day in the diary, daily. Roll on a little bit forward, and I'm a great one for constantly wanting to change things and improve things. So we got to January 2021, and actually I thought we need to be incorporating some more of the different Pride Way methodology within this, adding a bit of colour. So you can see on the previous slide there wasn't as much colour. It was about tracking those tasks that needed doing, but also taking into consideration redeployment. So some of the staff within the team got redeployed at the beginning of the year, and actually how was that factored in, and how were we still able to keep that communication going despite the redeployment? And that was really important to me. So then in April 2021, obviously I mentioned earlier that quite a few new staff joined the team. So it's time to think about doing something different. And actually, we've got a versatile set of skills. So could we do something electronic? So one of my colleagues who joined us in April decided to try and put the huddle board into an electronic version on MS Teams. And one of the things that I'm really passionate about is empowering the team to feel like they have a voice. So I didn't design this, someone else designed this within the team. We trialed it for a couple of weeks, and then I got everyone to give me their pros and cons of what worked and what didn't work so well, and whether we wanted to go back to the Excel version that you've seen on the previous slides, or whether we wanted to continue with the digital version. It so happened to coincide with the Pride Way for Leaders Session 5 teaching, which was great because it meant I could bring to the team the learning from there. And that's something that I'm, again, want to be able to show them that actually the learning that I'm taking from there is getting implemented within the team itself. So after much discussion about what worked and what didn't work, so this was the plan that you can see here. So you've got the tasks, and these are all completed because of the fact that this is from April, but you can see the different charts and lists and buckets, etc., that you can have within the planner. It was 3-2. I didn't take part in the vote, so I let the team take part in whether we were going to continue with the digital or go back to the Excel. So there was 3 in favour of using Excel and 2 in favour of using the digital planner. So we've gone back to the Excel version, and as a result of that, though, we've made a significant number of changes. So again, we can get everybody's views and make sure that everything's listed. So in April, what you can see here, it was very much a list of tasks, and it was not necessarily in date order, and so it was good, but it still needed further tweaking. So we used a lot of PDSA cycles to continue that development. So following the Pride Way for Leaders teaching, then introduced the huddle agenda. So we have at the very beginning of our huddles is we get everyone to put a team GIF in the chat. So everyone puts a GIF in as to how they're feeling on the day. The huddle lead does the check-in, and it's not always me, and I'll come on to that in a moment. Then we run through the production board, and on a Monday we take through the entire production board, and then during the rest of the week we focus on the tasks for the day. Then I will cover any other business, and then we check out. And we have these meetings every day at 9:15 to 9:45, unless there's any other commitments, in which case we'll change them. So these are just an array of this week's on Monday, how everyone was feeling. And there's always the post-weekend blues, I think. So I just thought I'd put that in there for a bit of fun. And what you can see on this next two slides is how that huddle board has changed. So what we've done here is we've still got our weekly tasks and our daily tasks, but you can see they're very much split by person. We've got 2 members off this week on annual leave, so there's only 4 of us listed in the daily tasks. We've got our completed tasks with a very specific section. We've got our tasks not required, so things that were in the daily task but actually no longer needed to be done. Now, rather than deleting them, I've made sure that we've still got sight of those as a team, because actually on Monday we were expecting to do that work. So we can account for the work that we've got, any issues for escalation, any key risks, any team messages. So for example, the LAMP testing kit, I want to make sure everyone's picked that up. And then the team rota. So everyone knows who's working when, and so those of us that are clinical and also work within the pharmacy department, you can see, for example, I'm working Saturday, Sunday, so it's very clear. We've got a 7-day picture of where everybody is and what site they're on. We've also now introduced a production board rota, so it's not just me that leads the huddles. We've got a very clear structure of different individuals leading, so we're bringing that those pride values and empowering individuals within the team that, irrespective of grade, they can also lead the huddle with my support. We've introduced a new concept about having presentations as well within the huddle, so everyone feels that they can share their expertise. It doesn't necessarily need to be around EPMA specifically. It could be something that they've come up with, because the team is so versatile and working across different specialities. We have one member of staff working in the clinical systems team at the minute, one working within IT. So we can bring those sets of skills and experience back into the team and then be feeding that back out within the organisation, which I think is an absolute great thing to be able to do. So what are we proud of as a team? We've definitely improved communication. We now have face-to-face meetings as well monthly, so it's not all remote working. I also incorporate a team activity into those face-to-face meetings. So in the first face-to-face meeting that we had in April, when everyone joined, we had a 10-minute, you have to build something out of the Lego box. So that was our creation as a team. The EPMA Tower is what we've called it. We have a WhatsApp group. We have embraced agile working. So not everyone is on site, but actually we've managed to embrace that agile concept. And I'm not going to lie, it's not always easy. It's sometimes you feel that, oh, I haven't seen person X for quite a while, and that's fine, but we're working our way through that as a team. And we're currently all doing the Virgin Pulse Challenge, so which is quite nice. So we've got a non-work activity going on. So in terms of Prideway methodology, I've utilised a lot of the techniques throughout my presentation, but what's really important for us is the focus is our patient. Ultimately, whatever we're doing, irrespective of the fact that our jobs are desk-based predominantly, or even if we're out and about doing an audit recently, a couple of us in the team have been out, as some of you may have seen, is doing a omitted doses audit. We are doing what we're doing because there is a patient at the end of the bed. We're hoping that that implementation of EPMA will make a difference to the organisation, both to our patients and to our staff. So I've talked through some of those Prideway methodology tools that we've used, and we're developing some SPDs as well at the moment to support some of the work that we're doing. So today I asked the team, and I haven't bribed them, I promise you, for some thoughts on what they think about the huddles. And it's great, these are their comments that have come through today, and I know a couple of them are on the call, that it allows for planning, organisation, the great way to keep in touch with each other, they're developing presentation skills, it allows us to keep track of our work. And most importantly, that team bonding, that positive morale and the health and well-being that was potentially there but slightly missing. It needed something else adding, and I think it's really important as a manager to be able to recognise that, and someone who's leading, and to not be afraid to say, actually, what can we do to make a difference? And my final view on this is we are a family. We are a group of 6 individuals, but we are a small knit family who want to make a difference in the organisation. And yes, I'm really passionate about digital innovation, and I'm really proud of the team, and I hope that we can showcase that throughout the work that we do. So thank you very much to everybody for listening, and if anyone needs to get hold of me, those are my contact details at the end. Thank you.